I went to the LCS the other day, I noticed something. And that made me think of liquidity. And this is something that stackers should care about. Now, if you're a collector, it doesn't matter as much. But if you're a stacker, liquidity matters. And I, back in the day, didn't really understand liquidity. I remember making a comment that all gold is liquid, which is true. That being said, there are different types of liquidity. Tar could be called a liquid, but it's not as liquid as water. Here's a story that happened to me one time at my LCS. I went in and they had almost no gold. They only had one single coin. I asked the guy, you got any gold? And he told me what happened. Apparently, where my LCS is located, there's a lot of Sikhs and Indians. Now, I don't know if it's a Sikh thing or an Indian thing, but apparently there's a certain day where it's considered lucky to buy gold. So all the Indians and or Sikhs went in there and bought up everything gold jewelry, gold coins. They were just buying all the gold, and they only left behind one coin. So I looked at the one coin that was left behind, and it was some coin from a little country, I think in Europe, like Eastern Europe or something. I don't even know. It wasn't a big country, and it was 50% gold. So I was like, nah. Just like the others, I passed on that coin. That coin would be tar. It's liquid, but it's not very liquid. It's almost not even liquid at all, but it is still liquid. 50% gold from some country like, I don't know, Romania or something. I don't know what country it was. I can't remember. But I had no interest in it. So if you're a stacker, that could matter to you, right? When I recently went into that same LCS, I noticed they had a lot of gold. They had a lot of gold coins. But at least 90% were gold eagles. They had them in ounces, fractionals, but they were 90% gold eagles. There was a Libertad, I believe, or some other Mexican coin. I'm not familiar enough with the Libertads to know if it was, because it was like from 1945 or something. Anyways, like I said, 90% were eagles. Because eagles are, in the United States, are the most liquid. They're the most liquid coin. When I first started stacking, I was going to buy nothing but 1 ounce gold eagles. Now this turned into a hobby for me, so I started getting other things. But even when I sold, right? I sold before a 1 ounce Krugerrand and a 1 ounce maple. They gave me, at that time, I believe 50 over spot for the eagle, and I think 10 over spot for the Krugerrand. So it matters when you come to sell. You may sell during a time like we're going through. I believe things are starting to change, but there's a lot of sellers and not very many buyers right now. Or like I said, it may be changing. It may have already changed, but at one time there were a lot of, or recently there were a lot of sellers and not a lot of buyers. So coin stores might not want to buy your Krugerrand. You might come in with a Krugerrand, or they may give you under spot, or like way under spot. They'll buy it, but they may give you a lower price in order for them to buy it at all. They would prefer to get eagles because they sell faster. More people want the eagle. So liquidity matters to a stacker. If you're a stacker, you got to think where you're living. Are you living in England? These aren't the most liquid coin in England. You would want the Britannia or a sovereign. But if you're living in the Australia, or maybe if you're living in South Africa, this would be the most liquid coin. So yeah, liquidity does matter when you go to sell. And there are different types of liquidity. All gold is liquid, but certain coins are more liquid than others. There's tar, and then there's water, you know. You don't want to get a tar. You don't want to get tar because it's going to be hard to, it's going to be harder to sell, and you're not going to get as much. You know, if you're looking to sell to a fellow stacker, for instance, and they're like, what do you got? You know, when I went to sell to Scrooge McStack, you know, he asked me what I got. You know, he wanted mostly eagles, you know, and he wanted, he was interested in the Panda, had problems with his Sigma machine, so he didn't get it. But, you know, the coins that people are interested in, if you're a stacker, if you're a true, pure stacker, you want the most liquid coin. If you're looking at as a hobby like me, it doesn't matter as much. All gold is liquid, but when it comes to sell, it does matter. Liquidity does matter. Keep on stacking.